Well, hello everybody. This is Carla. Don't mind my hand here. I just want to, oops, try and get this situated pretty well. I know we got some shadow here and I need some more light. Definitely not prepared. Welcome to 2025. Let's get all the lights on so you could see what I'm doing and I can see what I'm doing. So welcome everybody. Happy 2025. This is January 2nd. Let me just make sure we are situated here. Like I said, I looked through my phone and of course I'm looking at my laptop screen to kind of see if everything's good. And it looks pretty good, but what I am going to do is I think I need to move it up just a little bit. And the reason why is it looks like my phone is going, the view, the picture is kind of going in and out because I think it's trying to focus on my desk. So it looks like it's pretty good. So yeah, I think we're good. Well, we're going to be good. So again, happy 2025, everybody. It is actually January 2nd. This is not the first video for 2025. This is actually the second. I did post yesterday morning. What was that? That was my monthly Christmas card inspiration. Believe it or not, we just got done with Christmas and here I'm still doing Christmas cards. So on the first of the month, that's what I do. I create two simple duplicatable Christmas cards. So then that way you can create your Christmas cards throughout the year rather than waiting till like the last minute in December, kind of like what happens a lot of times with me. But I think at this point I got so many cards made in my stash that I think, I'm probably pretty well set. So also, so that was the Christmas card inspiration. That was the first video for 2025. If you had caught it, now I didn't do this as a live, I kind of did it as a pre-record on New Year's Eve. I had posted a video and it was one of those videos where, I had to think about, well, what am I going to talk about? I was not back here in the studio when I did that video. I actually sat on my couch and next to my Christmas tree, and I was wearing, probably the type of formal wear that most people these days were probably wearing for New Year's Eve. Um, I was wearing my pajamas and I did have, some earrings on. My hair was trimmed and colored. So, yeah, that was my formal wear for the evening. And if you had watched that, um, I basically kind of talked about, and I'm going to kind of put this in the picture just so that way there's something there and you can see what it is that we are working on for this Throwback Thursday. So in that video, I talked about, kind of like how things had gone for 2024, in regards to, my YouTube channel and what I have out here. And then for 2025, some of the things that I was going to change up. Now, I did mention that there were some things that I was going to continue to do, which the Throwback Thursdays, they will definitely continue because using the retired product, I have a lot of it. Plus, a lot of times it's the first time that I'm putting ink to those stamp sets. So, other than that, I've had a lot of feedback from people about, you know, they have this stamp set, they're kind of sad, disappointed in a way that, when Stampin' Up! Comes out with some of these sets, that sometimes they may carry over from one catalog into another, but then in most instances, a lot of things end up retiring after a few months if it's a mini catalog, or in a year's time if it was in an annual catalog. So a lot of people have appreciated that I bring out retired stuff, because then if it's something they have, then they have that inspiration to kind of pull it out and play with it again. I talked about my Friday night lives, which, by the way, there will be one tomorrow night where I'll be using the Nest of Winter Sweet collection that's in the Holiday Mini. Actually, everything in that suite looks like it's going to be carrying over. I'm guessing into the online exclusives. So I'll be using that tomorrow night. I'll be live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And like I'm going to continue doing the projects that I make that evening. At the very end, I do a wheel of names for all those people that are with me live. And you can have a chance to win one of those cards that I've made. I did talk about, so one thing that I did make mention on New Year's Eve, and if you weren't able to see that video yet, but then wondered, okay, it seemed like there was a video that was missing on the first. So one of the things that I had decided to do now, when I talked in that video, I made a mention about, how much work it is, into putting together these videos, coming up with the projects, writing up all the stuff for it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, at the same time, working a full-time job Monday through Friday on top of this, that, sometimes it becomes a little bit much. So I had made a decision that I was going to eliminate the special holiday videos, only because I can, between the Throwback Thursdays and the Friday Night Lives, I can kind of throw in the products that can reference a particular holiday that would be coming up. So I thought, by eliminating that, it's like I'm really not. I mean, I'm still doing stuff that will relate to that holiday. It's just there'll be one less video. And of course, it was just for the holidays. But everything else I was still going to do. I did make a change as far as like in-person events. Now, earlier in the year, last year, I was offering a monthly Christmas card club for those that are local to me, where you can come here to my studio, and you can use my stamps and my dies and punches to create your Christmas cards throughout the year. The only thing you would have needed was to supply your own cardstock, your designer series paper or scrapbook paper, and embellishments. And it did not have to be Stampin' Up! Product. It's your card, so whatever you wanted to use. Um, it didn't seem like there was much interest in that. I mean, I've had comments when I've talked about it from people online saying it was a good idea. However, nobody locally was really interested in it. So I kind of ended it before the year was out. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to do it again in the new year. Also, in the new year, one of the other things that I'm going to change too is the monthly in-person classes. Now, I may, before I was doing one every month, and I try to do it, within the first 2 weeks of the month. And at one point in the very beginning, there was interest, and then after that, um, nobody really came. my assistant Yvonne, she would be here, and of course she's worth me putting together a class. But a lot of times, she's just happy, getting together and just crafting. So, um, again, like my Friday night lives, I put together the projects and I create the PDF with the pictures and all that. Well, I kind of do the same thing for the in-person classes. So that too is a lot of work to put together. So at that point, I kind of decided that the in-person classes, I'm n- I don't want to say I'm not offering them. I'm just not going to offer them every single month. So every once in a while, I may decide, okay, I want to do an in-person class using particular products. So to find out if I'm doing something or not, I would have it in my monthly newsletter that I'm still going to do. And if you would like to receive my newsletters, there is a link in the description of this video that when you click on that, you just add your name and your email address. And then when I go to complete my next newsletter, which I believe will be Tuesday of next week, then you can see everything that I would be doing as far as like in person, any offers and things that Stampin' Up is doing. Celebration is coming. And the new mini catalog too. So there'll be information in there, plus my video schedule on what I'm going to be using for my Throwback Thursdays and my Friday Night Lives. All of that will be included in there too. So if you're interested, the link is below in the description. So with that, I think we're going to get started because I think I talked enough about like some of that, housekeeping stuff. So for my Throwback Thursday video, I am going to be using the Light the Sky bundle, and the projects are going to be a Happy New Year themed cards. Now I know New Year's Day was yesterday, but we're close enough. And this is a bundle that was in our holiday mini catalog. Let me rephrase this. I don't want to say last year because last year was 2024. This was in, I think it was the September through December mini catalog from 2023. Now, when that catalog had retired, this particular bundle, now it wasn't offered at a bundle price, but the stamp set and the set of dies, they carried over into the online exclusives. Then I think it was back, do I want to say back in November, I believe, when Stampin' Up came out with the last chance products list. The last chance products list was just not items out of our current holiday mini that is soon going to retire. It also included items from the clearance rack, the kits collection, and the online exclusives. Now, both of these items ended up in the last chance. Let me take a really quick peek. I have my laptop right next to me here. I believe the stamp set had already had sold out, so that is gone now. I'm not sure about the dies, so let me bring this up just to see if they are still available. Let's see. Uh, it doesn't look like that either the stamp set or the set of dies are available anymore. So yeah, Throwback Thursday using retired stash. So now that these are sold out, it's considered retired now. Um, so I figure I'd let you know whether you could still get anything on that or not. Okay, so we're going to get started with our projects. Now, I do not have my thing printed out. Hold on one second. Where is it? Just want to get my ruler. I do not have my printout with all my cardstock and paper, well, my cardstock dimensions. So I figure let me go ahead and bring that out so I can give you some measurements. So my first card is pretty simple. Now there's a lot of stuff that I already did in advance to kind of speed up the time in this video. So the first card is, my card base is Knight of Navy. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Out of our gold foil paper, which is more like a cardstock, not as heavy as our cardstock, but it isn't like a lightweight, really thin like foil. This is a little bit thicker. I had die cut this ahead of time using the Radiating Stitches dies. Now let me see something with this really quick. Let's see. I know that these were in, okay, so these were in our online exclusives, and I just did a search on it, and it looks like that it ended up on the last chance list. So these are now sold out. So these are no longer available. Um, so they were out there for a while. So this larger die right here, I went ahead and I die cut that. And then out of Knight of Navy, this measures, let's see, this is 4 1/8 by 2 3/4. I had, with the stamp set, I had stamped this in Versamark ink, and I used our gold embossing powder to emboss "Wishing You a Happy New Year." And then this die right here that I cut out, I'll put it over the paper instead. I had die cut that using this one die here in the set of dies with like the sky. Now there's a couple of dies here, this larger one here, these two here, this one here, and this one, if you can see it in the screen. These just cut out into the cardstock like that. So it's not actually cutting something out like when you stamp it and then you can use the die to die cut it. There is this die right here that'll do that. But these right here don't actually die cut an actual piece. It just die cuts inside of the well, the cardstock piece itself, if that makes sense. So for this one, now like I said, everything's pretty much done on this other than assembling it. So we're going to do this card first. The other card, we're going to be doing some stamping on that. Again, I try to do some things in advance so it saves time. You know, anything that's die cutting, heat embossing, you know, that kind of stuff. I try to do that in advance just to save some time. So I folded and burnished my card base. I'm going to take my liquid glue and add it to the back of this gold foil piece. Now, as you can see around these edges here, what it does, it actually cuts it so there's these little slits. So when you go to put glue on the back of this, you want to be mindful around this edge not to use a whole lot or the glue is going to ooze out. So I am just going to add some glue into this inner part here where there's no die cut slits in it. Now, if you end up using seal, you know, or some kind of tape runner, then that would be a little bit different. You won't have glue, you know, oozing out through those cracks. So that would end up working. But with the liquid glue, you don't want the glue oozing out, especially on foil, because when you get adhesive on the foil, then kind of cleaning that up off of it is a little bit more work. So I'm going to take my block and I'm just going to put that on there, set that aside, just so that way that glue kind of sets. Then on this piece here, I'm going to bring in my, my Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm going to take this piece right here. So the edge pieces are just as good as, let's see, I want to make sure that I don't have this show through. So your edge pieces are just as good as the actual dimensionals themselves. So I'm going to take some here. And being that it's foam, it does tear fairly easy. So I'm going to add this along the outer edges like so. And let's get our other outer piece here. And so I'm going to add a strip up here. And then the rest of this will go down here. And then for my other dimensionals, we'll put a couple here because we don't want this all saggy. And we'll put one there. And let's see, I don't know if this one will actually fit in here where you won't see it. Yeah, you'll end up seeing a little bit of that. So I want to bring in my mini dimensionals and I'll add that right in the center right there. Okay, well, let's remove all these paper backings. So again, I hope all of you had a wonderful and safe New Year's Eve. Prayers are going up to those families and those people that were affected by that horrific act of violence in New Orleans on New Year's Eve. Just a lot of crazy stuff going on. I mean, here, as we got to midnight, it's, you know, I love holidays, you know, like 4th of July, New Year's Eve. The only thing I do not like about it is that here it's not just fireworks they like to set off, they like to shoot guns too. And I can tell you that I know the difference on what a handgun sounds like and what a machine gun sounds like. And this was the first time since I lived down here, and I've been here since 2012, that I actually heard a machine gun go off. And so, you know, you're not supposed to be setting this stuff off and doing these things, especially in residential areas. And that is just like one of the things that I just do not like about these holidays, is that I just don't like, I don't like that at all. You know, they shoot these guns up in the air, but do they not realize that you shoot those bullets up, they're going to come down? So it's the one thing that I do not like about it. It went on as soon as it hit. I mean, they were shooting off fireworks, you know, a few hours before 12. It kind of stopped, and I don't think you hear any of this stuff in my in the video that I did that night. But I can tell you that from 12 until probably, I want to say maybe 1:45, maybe 12:30, that it actually stopped. So I was kind of surprised that it ended sooner than it did, because sometimes it would go a lot longer. Okay, so for my embellishments on this card, these are in our current annual catalog. These are called the Blooming Pearls, and in here we have these gold ones. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to take one of these larger ones, add it to the center of, whoops, it kind of shifted to the center of this firework here. I don't know, for some reason, it wants to shift and not go in the center. Okay, and we'll take two of these smaller ones and I'll add them right here. So this card, very simple card, went together pretty quickly. And let me bring it up to show you. So very simple. I mean, definitely it's the type of card that you definitely could make quite a few of them. If you didn't get the Christmas cards done, then you can easily do New Year's cards. So there is our first card. Now let me bring in all the pieces of what our second card is. Now this one we're going to be, now there is a lot of stuff that I already pre-cut in advance, but on this one there is stamping that we're going to be doing. And yeah, so we got, so it's also an interesting color combination as well on this one. So for my card base, this is fresh Freesia. It measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25, and it is a current color. Then I have a piece of Calypso Coral. This too is a current color. This measures 5 by 3.75. Then I have a piece of basic white. This measures 4.75 by 3.5. Then in advance, with a scrap of basic white, I had stamped both of these firework images. That's this one right here in the stamp set. This one was stamped with a retired color. This was a recent retired in color. This is Sweet Sorbet. And then this one is a current color. This is, what colors? This is Berry Burst. Then, out of scraps of cardstock, I have a Berry Burst tag, a Sweet Sorbet tag, and a Night of Navy tag. These were die cut out of the Nested Essentials dies. I had used, let's see, this second smallest of the banners in these set of dies, and these are in our current annual catalog, so you can still get them. And then out of the gold foil, the same gold foil that I had used, I had die cut using the alphabet a la mode dies. I'll show them to you here in a second. I die cut 2025 out of that gold. Now I did not put any adhesive sheet on the back of that. I'm going to be using my liquid glue, so that's where having my Tombow multi-purpose glue and a fine tip glue bottle works, along with some reverse locking tweezers. These tweezers come with our embossing additions kit that we have in our annual catalog, so that's going to help us with putting those down. So this is the alphabet a la mode dies. These are in our annual catalog. You have some punctuation here, and you have your alphabet and some special some letter characters for, different languages. Now in here you do have like two extra letters, so you got like two A's and two E's, two I's, L's, R's, S, and T. So it's pretty cool that they give you some extras, and then they also give you numbers in here as well. So these are still available in our catalog. And let me pull out the stamps that we're going to need. So I'm going to be using that Wishing You a Happy New Year stamp again for this. I'm also going to use, excuse me, these two like exploding firework images. We got a small one and a larger one. And then we have this, what would look like a stem, but this is actually going to be that stream, you know, when your firework goes up before it explodes. We're going to stamp that one as well. Now the ink that I'm going to use in this particular project is the Fresh Freesia ink. I'm also going to use Night of Navy. Let's see, and I think, yeah, that's all we're going to use because these two images, I used the Sweet Sorbet and the Berry Burst. And again, Sweet Sorbet is an in color that retired with our last annual catalog. So let me kind of move this stuff out of the way, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to do my stamping first. So since this is a photopolymer stamp set, it does not have that foam cushion like our red rubber stamps have. So to get a nice stamped image using a foam piercing mat or any type of foam will give you a little bit of that cushion. I'm also going to bring in a piece of scrap paper because when I go to stamp my small uh, firework here, I am going to be going off of the paper a little bit. So we want to have our piercing mat protected. So let me go ahead and put my stamps on some blocks here. We got our smaller one. And then we have this one that looks like a stem. I'll put that on a block like so. Okay, so on this card, what I want to stamp first is my greeting. So I'm going to do that in Night of Navy and wishing you a Happy New Year. This would actually have been the stamp set I would have used if I had done my special holiday videos, but since I decided for in the new year that I was going to kind of do away with them, I decided I'll use this in my Throwback Thursday. So my wishing you a happy new year, I am going to stamp that right over here on the left hand side of my cardstock and towards the top, but not all the way. Okay. And that's all we're going to stamp with this ink. And then with my Fresh Freesia, I'm going to bring in this piece of scrap paper right here. And I'm going to take the smaller firework, ink that up. Now, I could stamp this off, but it would be really faint. So I am going to stamp this in full strength, like so. And then I'm going to take this larger one here, ink that up. And then I'm going to stamp this one right over here. So I'm going to overlap my greeting just a little bit. What's nice is the Night of Navy is much darker than the Fresh Freesia, so you're still able to see what that says. Then I'm going to take this piece here. Like I said, looks like a branch, but it's actually like that stream of the firework as it's going up in the air. And I am going to stamp this right here underneath that firework. Okay, and then I need to clean that particular stamp. Actually, I do need these other two colors. So let me kind of move that out of the way. Let me bring in my Stampin' Scrub here, and let me clean this. And while I'm at it, I will clean these other stamps too. So that way none of our cardstock, if they touch the stamps, then at least they're clean. There's no ink on them, and we won't have a mess. Okay, I'm going to need that again. So let me come in here. Now, for my, what do I want? My Sweet Sorbet firework. I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this in the general spot of where I want it. So I kind of want it like in this spot right here. Okay, so just leave that there. I'm going to ink up this stamp in my Sweet Sorbet. And let's ink this up like so. And then I'm going to kind of look at where I got this. And I'm going to try and pick this up. And I'm going to stamp this right here. And let's not stick my my die cut in the ink. Let's close this up. Okay, and then we'll clean this again. All right, and then I'm going to bring in my Berry Burst one and kind of look at where I want to put this one. So we're going to put this one right here. I don't want to cover up my word. I'll get this one out of the way. Okay. And then on this one, do the same thing, ink this up, kind of look at where my die is. Of course, it's hard to get this picked up. And I am going to come in and stamp that right there, like so. So that's all the stamping that we're doing on this. So let me set that aside, move that out of the way, and we'll clean this stamp really quick. So I'm looking at my screen and I can see that it looks a little more brighter. Actually, I should actually move the lights back into the screen. It would be even brighter. My setup on my desk, I have two clamp-on lights from IKEA on either side of my table. Those are the ones I just put into the screen, the ones I took off because they were glaring on the stamp set. Like when I had this down, you can see that there's a light glaring. These are the lights that I have on either side that come from IKEA. And then I have two other lights that kind of come in at an angle. And then in the center, I have a ring light. Now, the ring light being on a stand and all that, I actually removed that last night when no, on the 31st, that, New Year's Eve, when I used it to actually hold my camera when I was doing my live. I didn't actually use the light because the Christmas tree had enough light on it. So when I set it back up in here, I actually have the ring light down lower. So it makes it look a little bit brighter from what I'm seeing on my laptop screen that's sitting right over here on the side. All right, so I'm going to take my fresh Freesia card base, fold and burnish that. Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece that we just stamped. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of that. So I'm going to use my liquid glue, and I'm going to adhere this to my Calypso coral piece. Okay, and then we'll add that right here. Okay, so there we go. That's all set. Now, these three little banners here that I have die cut, I am going to add some adhesive. Now, I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal for this. I'm going to add, now this is, so you have the back side of your die and then you got your front side. So on the front side, I am going to add some adhesive. Now, I'm going to go about, I would say 3/4 of the way from where the notched out end is. And I'm going to add some adhesive on that. I'm going to do the same thing on my Sorbet and on my Berry Burst. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Night and Navy one. Now these are going to go on the left side of this panel here. Now when you look at this, you can see that there is some stitching on it. Let me get a better one where you can see it, then it's not so dark. So when you look at the banner, it is stitched. No, well, it's actually double stitched. So in the center here of this notch, you see this little stitch mark right here. Actually, my camera, oh, not my camera, but my laptop is, there's kind of a delay. So you see this little tiny stitch right here. I'm going to line this up on my card base where the edge of this is going to be right up against that little stitch mark. So I'm going to start off with my Night of Navy my Night of Navy piece first. Okay, and I'm going to add that like so. So it's not a whole lot that's hanging off of there. Then I'm going to do my Berry Burst one, leaving a little bit of a gap in between the two. And again, lining it up to that little stitch mark there in the cutout. And then we have our Sweet Sorbet piece. Again, leaving a little gap. And lining it up like so. Making sure it looks straight. Okay, so that's what we have. We have our banner pieces where we just have a little bit of that banner part showing. And of course, now it's stuck on the back here. Okay, and then I'm going to add some liquid glue to the back of this. And we'll go all the way up. We'll add a little bit on these banner ends. Okay, now when I line this up on my card base, I'm going to come over to the right because I want these banner ends to actually line up with the spine of this card. Okay, so we have it equally distanced about from the top and bottom, and excuse me, and it's closer to the right hand side here. Okay, so we're almost there. So now I am going to take these firework pieces here that I had already stamped and die cut ahead of time. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, and there's not many on there. Let's see, I got more here. So I'm going to start off with my Sweet Sorbet one. And I'm going to add a few dimensionals on here. I think 4 will work on here. Okay. Let's remove these. Okay, and then I'm going to take this firework and I'm going to line this up where I'm just under the greeting, and I'm kind of following that line that I stamped to where the center of that firework is, and it's going to overhang just a little bit. Now on this one's going to go over here, and it'll overlap a little bit on the edge here. So then I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. Okay, we're done with the dimensionals. And then the same thing, we're going to look at the way that the firework is going. We're going to line this up over that stamped line and kind of line it up to the edge here, and where the greeting is, we stick that down like so. So now we're not done. We got a little bit more to add to this. So our 2025, let's bring those numbers in here. And I have a silicone craft sheet on this table, so of course if anything ends up on that, it doesn't slide very well or very easily. So I'm going to bring in my reverse locking tweezers, and I'm going to pick up each one of my numbers here, and I'm just going to add a little stream of glue. Don't want to go too crazy on this because we don't want glue oozing out. Okay, and what's nice about this, I am not worrying about it being straight at all. So these are going to be, you know, differently angled, and we'll put that down for a second. Then let me get my 0. So I'm not lining these up straight. So that makes it even a little bit easier. Now again, you can use the adhesive sheets on this if you would like. You just want to add that to the back of your gold foil first and then die cut. So I'm going to take my 0 and I'm basically putting 2 numbers on each one of those fireworks. So I'm going to kind of hold that down there. Let's get our other 2 here. And we'll add our glue. And hopefully I'm in the screen. Okay. And then we're going to add that right here. Like so. We'll put this block on it just to hold it down. So that way the glue kind of sets. And then let's do our 5. Hard to believe that we are actually in 2025 already. Seemed like 2024 went by pretty quickly. You know, kind of hope, well, good, now we'll have some maybe 2025 will be a lot better than it's been these past few years. And then, of course, how did it start out with being down in New Orleans in, for New Year's Eve. And then on New Year's Day, uh, that somebody pulled that cyber truck right in front of that Trump hotel in Las Vegas, and yeah, had explosives in the back of it. So that stuff is still being looked at as to who did that and what that was about. Um, so hopefully things will get better after this and we won't have, this chaos is done. That's what me and I guess a lot of other people are hoping for. Okay, so our numbers are down and you can see they're not straight. They're not even. I kind of like that whimsical look of that, looking like that. Now for the embellishments, what I'm going to bring in, these are the Regal foiled adhesive back dots. Let me take a quick look. I'm not 100% sure if whether these were on the okay, so these embellishments are not on the last chance list. So out of this whole suite, you had there's 12 by 12 designer series paper. There was also 12 by 12 specialty foil. Well, they call it distressed patterns paper. There was blackberry bliss and gold edged ribbon. And then, of course, there were these embellishments and then the stamp set and the set of dies. So the set of dies and the stamp set, they are retiring. I see the dies are still there. I think it looks like that the English version of the stamp set, that is now gone. The French version is still available along with the French bundle, the French version of the bundle. So the English version of the stamp set, that is gone. The dies are still available and they're marked down. The designer series paper, the one with all those jewel tone flowers, that's on the last chance list and that's discounted a little bit. That's still available. Um, the ribbon, that is been discounted a little bit and on the last chance list. And it looks like that these Regal foiled adhesive back dots and the Regal Distress Patterns designer series paper, those two items are actually carrying over, so you will be able to still get those. So in this, the colors that they have in here is shaded spruce, and there's little flecks of gold in these colors. So you have shaded spruce, blackberry bliss, night of navy, and berry burst. So I am going to add the night of navy ones on this. Now I could take a berry burst one and I could add that to the middle of this one, which, you know what, let's do that. It's the same color, so we'll put that in there. And then I will take two of the night, and I'll take the night of navy and I'll actually add that in the middle of my sweet sorbet one, and then I'll take another one and add it right down here. So there is our other card. So a little bit more to this card than the other one, but I think that came out really, really cute. And so let me bring in the first card that we had made. So this one went together really quickly. A lot of stuff I did ahead of time with the die cutting and the heat embossing. But I really like that Night of Navy with the gold foil. And then here is our second one where we did a little bit more to it. We have a nice, interesting color combination that all works great together. And yeah, and we added our gold 2025 to it. So really like how that one came out. So again, this is my Throwback Thursday video where we're featuring New Year's projects using the Light the Sky bundle. Again, it's the 2nd of January, so we're a day after New Year's, but you know, when you have a holiday in the middle of the week, then, you know, you just celebrate, you know, that holiday for the rest of the week, right? So I thank you for joining me for this episode of Throwback Thursday. If you like the projects that I made in this episode, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help not in only growing the channel, but then it also helps in building my Stampin' Up! Business. And again, I'll have some links down below in the description if you would like a copy of that new celebration brochure and the new mini catalog. Those will both be going live on January 7th. So if you're not working with another demonstrator and you're here in the US and you would like a copy of that, or even our annual catalog, my email is down below. Just simply send me an email with your name and your mailing address and let me know which catalogs you would like, and I'll get that mailed out to you. Also, the link for my newsletter is down below as well. If you would like to receive that, I typically send one a month, unless Stampin' Up! Has some special offer or something going on sometime in the middle of the month, because a lot of times we may not know about that well in advance. Usually we find out about a few days ahead of time. Also, there's the link for the last chance products if you're interested in seeing in what's left on that. And I think that's about what you'll find in there, along with all the supplies that I use for the projects. So again, Happy New Year, everybody. Here's to hoping that it's going to be a good one. Stay safe. And if you're able to, join me here tomorrow night as I do my Friday Night Live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I'll be featuring the Nest of Winter suite of products. And I think that's it, guys. So, everyone, Happy New Year and have a blessed one. Bye bye.